Hey, it's Craig Syracusa, and welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith, the show where we go beyond the image and we discover who our guests really are. You might know them from TV, the big screen, or even the world of sports, but do we really know who they are as a person? Do we know what motivates them? Do we know what inspires them? Well, that's what we're here to find out. On this episode, I had the pleasure of talking to Quinton Aaron, best known for his role as Big Mike in The Blindside, less commonly known for his personal devotion to helping kids who are bullied. Stay tuned to hear more about his charity work as well as his career. Thank you so much, Quinton. Thank you very much for sitting down with me. I know it's been a long flight for you, a long day. But one thing I wanted to say is you are definitely one of the most recognizable people I've ever met in my life. I remember a few years ago when we were walking around at, different schools and stuff like that. Every kid, everyone that saw you was like drawn to you. But what was so fascinating was the way you responded. Like, there's never a time that I've seen where you were just like, hey, sorry, buddy, like, I don't have time for you. But it's that love that you show to these kids and to these adults and the pictures you take. It's something that I'll never forget. So thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And you've had an interesting career. I mean, you're actor, producer, you have your own foundation. Is there anything you haven't done or anything you want to do?
Oh, there's a lot I haven't done yet. There's a lot I want to do. I'm working on it. I recently started filming my own documentary.
Oh, wow.
And it's to get to the best version of myself, and I'm also going to be telling my story, giving away a lot of juicy details from my past and stuff, and some of the not so juicy details and my upbringing and all of that, but also the goal I have set in mind is to break 300 to get to the best shape of my life. So it's called Best of Me.
I like that.
Yeah, it's my way of keeping my promise I made to my mother years ago, and then also hopefully prolonging my career and opening up more doors and more opportunities so I can do some of those things that I haven't done yet and want to do. So.
What was the promise that you shared with your mom?
That I'll never stop striving to be the best I can be.
What do you think? I mean, it's probably hard to even say. Like, what do you think who's the best Quinton? What is the best Quinton?
The one that's healthy and got all his ducks in a row. And it's like, if you wake up every day and you know that you're not fully doing everything that you can in your power to be at that point in your career or your life where you want to be, then you're slacking. You're not putting your best foot forward, and I've been guilty of that, and so it's time for me to just turn over a new leaf and really get my head on straight. I just turned 33, so
congratulations.
It's like, boom, you're there now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till if you get married and have kids, it's like everything changes.
Exactly.
There's something Matthew McConaughey says, you've probably seen, he says, someone said, who do you want to be in 10 years? And he thought about it and he said, I want to be myself in 10 years. And 10 years from there, you always want to be yourself. It's not about, trying to sort of mimic someone. It's about being the best person you could be. So in essence, you're envying yourself.
Yeah.
So you didn't always want to be an actor then, right? Or what did you?
No, I did actually.
You did?
Yeah. That's one thing I'm very fortunate of. I'm living my dream. Yeah. And it's a lot more I want to do in this career. Like, there's a lot of roles that I haven't done I want to do. Plus I'm a storyteller, so I create a lot of my own story ideas that I finally getting a chance to bring to life. And
when you were young and you first told whomever you wanted to be an actor, what did they say to you? Did they support you?
It was my mom, and she's always been my biggest supporter. She's the reason for me being where I'm at today. She actually got me the Blindside audition.
How did that come about?
She submitted me online.
Really?
They called her, yeah. When she told me, I was actually just coming in from another audition. And she said, are you sick? I was like, no. She's like, all right, well, don't get sick because you're going to LA to meet the director for The Blindside. And I was like, what? Wow. That's crazy. And I was so excited, I forgot all about my fear of flying. And I used to say I'm never getting on a plane without a parachute. Turns out I didn't realize until the doors closed and they said what the altitude was going to be that I was on a plane, and it was too late then.
And your parachute wouldn't work at 30,000 feet.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, no.
So when you got to the audition, because I'm interested in this, and I think most people are, how many people were there? What was it like? Because I've never been in a situation like that, and most people haven't.
I wasn't nervous. I went in off book, you know, I knew all my lines, and I think I have this gift of, in high intense moments, not worrying about it. So I just go in and do what I need to do, and whatever's gonna happen happens. I mean, I do have times where I'm like, I hope this is, you know, but then I just like step back and I'm like, you know what, whatever's gonna happen happens.
And a lot of this to do with your faith too, you know,
Yes.
faith in God, that, you know,
Definitely.
it's part of his plan, and, you know, if we trust in God, and everything will work out.
Yes.
So what was it like to work with Sandra Bullock? I mean,
That was awesome. That was pretty cool.
she seems like a wonderful woman.
Sweetheart. Very funny, very professional, and very caring.
And when you got the call and they said, okay, Quinton, you got the role, did they call you? Did they call your mom?
They called my manager. My mom had passed away when they actually gave the call, so they called my manager and let her know.
And what did you say to God or whomever when you got that part? What was the first thing you said?
Thank you. Thank you, Jesus was the first words I said. It was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
And you knew your mother was looking down on you at that time. I mean, you knew that was all part of it.
She was always saying to me, like, because the movie was on hold for over a year, and she said, don't worry about it. Like, there's no way they're going to do that movie without you. They met you. They know that you're that guy. But whatever's going on has to take place. So when they get ready to do the movie, they're going to call you. And that's what she believed, and that's what I believed.
And did you ever see like a sign or anything that she was with you during the process, like during the filming?
I always felt her near me. Yeah, definitely. I keep it with me now. Like this chain, it's a picture of me and my mother.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
She's definitely looking down on you and proud of you. I mean, I'm proud of you, and I don't know you that well, so.
Thank you.
So what was it like? Okay, you did the movie, and then from there, what is it like to work on other films? You know, like, I mean, that's a huge blockbuster film. I mean, I know you've worked on a lot, but what's it like to sort of work on independent films or other films?
I like playing different characters. I like, I'm more passionate about the ones that I have creative input in, because I feel like there's a lot more to me than people know or understand. You know, a lot of times, especially in Hollywood, you deal with people that only know what they see. And so I don't really care about auditioning for roles as much, because the stuff I get called for is stuff that are just for big people. And it's like...
So they're typecasting you in a way?
Yeah, exactly. I get typecast. Basically outlining the fact that I'm a big guy, I eat a lot, and, you know, it's the stereotypes for big people, which is false. Because a lot of big people get big from not eating as much and eating the wrong things, not from eating a lot. I don't eat a lot. Like, on average, I used to anyway. I'm training now. I lost like 60-something pounds.
That's great.
But before, I was eating like on average 2 meals a day.
Wow.
You know, and it was just filled with carbs and junk, you know. But I know people that are your size that can out-eat me on any day.
Sometimes I eat a lot, it depends. So what did you, like, from that film, what did you walk away with? Was there one thing sort of from the Blindside that you walked away with, like the experience?
Yeah, it was, I loved the attitude of the stars that I worked with, like Sandra, Tim McGraw, Kathy Bates.
Tim's great.
Their personalities were just awesome. A lot of people, assumptions of certain celebrities are they're untouchable, or they're egotistical or maniacal or whatever. And it's not true.
No. In Hollywood, I mean, because you're completely outspoken about your faith. I mean, you know, all your messages on Facebook. In Hollywood, you don't really see that often, right? What do you think? Why is that? Why is it so taboo to talk about faith in Hollywood?
Well, you know what it is? It's, a lot of people don't like doing stuff for people. They're not very charitable, and I would say they're not charitable unless it benefits them. Because I've noticed that, especially with friends in Hollywood, if you want to keep a friend, don't ask them for anything. And I tell people that all the time. It's like the moment you ask for a favor,
You're in the same
You're probably
box.
not going to hear from them again.
You're right. You're
You
right.
know, I mean, they may grant that favor, but don't plan on asking for another one.
Because then you
It's
go
a
in
wrap.
that same box as everybody else.
Because I'm somebody that, you know, if you ask me for something and I can do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So do you think because of, like, for instance, you're so outspoken about your faith, like we said, has that affected or does that affect your career, whether it's you or someone else in Hollywood, if they're open about their faith? Have you ever seen that?
Could be a possibility, but I don't know. I don't like to think that that's the reason. I just think that, like I said, with this journey to get to the best of me, I think that's going to open up more doors. And I think my faith doesn't kill opportunities for me, because we all know that nobody can close doors that God's open for you.
That's right.
So I think that I build a nice, you know, network of good people that love working, that are creative, we're like-minded, and that's all that matters, because at the end of the day, we're doing what we love, and, you know, that's what you want to do.
And now, so the team that you have, are they also involved in your not-for-profit?
Some of them.
And you're still involved, obviously, in the charity, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tell us why did you decide on anti-bullying? What was the...
For my childhood.
Really?
You know, I was bullied a lot growing up, mainly in elementary. I was picked on, beat up, chased home, had my pants snatched down in front of, you know,
what size were you at that age?
I was always the tallest kid in my class. I wasn't always the biggest, but like I was tall. I used to be skinny and big forehead, crooked teeth, and just a glutton for punishment.
And you were quiet, or you?
Yeah, quiet,
So
very shy, timid, afraid of everything, insecure. I was that kid that wore a jacket, you know, pretty much everywhere I went, because I didn't want people to see how I looked in a shirt.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was
And why do you think they picked on you? What was that just because you think, because your appearance, or?
You know, it's funny. It's almost like you can relate it to an animal. They say when animals attack when they sense fear. I feel like it was the same thing with bullies. When they sense that you're afraid of them, that's when they lock in on you. Like, oh, here's a target, here's a victim, you know? And it's unfortunate, but it's true. Like, I've spoken at so many schools over the years, and I can almost point out while looking in the crowd the kids that have problems being bullied. And some instances, you know, when you're talking to them, after you finish talking, they'll come up and, you know, tell their story, and it's just like, it's sad that I knew that, but kids look for the weak link and they zero in on them, and it's gotten worse today with social media, and even like kids' disabilities. It's like, is nothing off limits here? Like, there's so many kids being made fun of because of their disabilities. Like kids that have, you know, disabilities like Tourette's, there is, you know, they can't control it. And I met this kid in Florida, Jalen, who he actually started his own foundation. Now he does public speaking because he was bullied a lot because of his Tourette's. And it's unfortunate, you know, but what we try and do with my foundation is to uplift and motivate these kids and build a stronger sense of knowing who they are. Because a lot of it is you become a victim because you don't know who you are. You know, you're not confident in your own skin. You're not comfortable in your own settings. And so we want to try and create more triumphant, you know, mentalities for these kids, as opposed to being the victim, being, you know, soft-spoken and shy and afraid. We want them to be more outspoken and, you know, focused on their goals and getting that done no matter what people think about them.
And how many kids would you say you've spoken to so far?
Probably a million.
Million?
Probably
A million kids?
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids.
We did a couple of tours around the country. And,
wow.
You know.
And we did it together, I think, at maybe it was one school a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We did it in Brooklyn, St. Athanasius, I remember. I remember the kids loved you. I mean, that's what I remember.
Yeah. I think now I've probably, with the exception of Ohio, probably spoken at a school in every state in this country.
Wow.
So we've been doing a lot, and most of that traveling has been on the road. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So you mentioned social media. So social media, we would say, is still a form of you could use social media as a way of bullying, right?
Yes, yes.
So what forms of bullying are there?
There's the cyberbullying. Kids, they have these imperfections, and kids will do stuff to them, and someone will record it and post it online for the world to see. Can't tell you how many times I've seen videos just on Instagram of a kid getting beat up.
Oh, I know.
And just like kids just standing around watching this kid getting stumped and
I don't understand how
like
an Instagram, or they don't have a filter to do they have the ability to remove photos or videos like that?
I think Instagram does it personally, but I tell people all the time, I say, listen, the moment you get a message you don't like, delete and block. Just delete the message and block the person it came from.
And now, other ways of bullying would be just the traditional, like where they tease someone or
teasing, and it's funny. Like over the years, you hear people try to say now, well, explain what is bullying because kids will be kids, and I'm like, well, yeah and no. If you're doing something to someone and they clearly tell you to stop, and you continue doing it, that's bullying. You know, we want everybody to get involved because it's not just on these kids to stop it. It's on the teachers that's around them, the principals, to be more stern with their policies. Because what do you say to a parent when their kid takes their life? Oh, we didn't know what was going on. Well, isn't it your job to know what's going on? And then also on the parent side, we want them to be more vocal in their child's schooling, because one of the biggest things for me that stopped bullying for me is when I was in elementary, when my mom found out what was going on, she started coming to my school. And my mom was a force. She was Medea on steroids. My mom ain't play. She when she came to school, it was like everybody's parent walked in. And my mom, she wasn't someone that just cared for her own kids. She cared for all of them. And they saw that. And kids respect that when they see that you genuinely care, you know, and that's why I do what I do, how I do it, because showing them that I'm invested in, you know, in caring for them and their well-being means all the difference, because I do care. You know, I want them to be better. I want them to go after their goals. I was that shy, timid kid that got picked on, and I got past that, and I'm now living my dream because I didn't let that defeat me.
And they can relate to you. I mean, you're relatable. What makes your message unique? Do you use faith? Do you use faith at all during your teachings?
I do when it comes to me telling about my story, because you know a lot of times at schools you have to be kind of careful, because for some reason you can't mention God and in the schools, you know. But when I'm telling my story, He is a part of my life, so I can speak about that sense to where I grew up in the church, and so that's how I interject it, and they don't say nothing, but.
Now, why would you say that kids would decide, or why do they bully? Like, why do you become a bully? Why does someone become a bully?
A lot of times it's because they're dealing with situations themselves where they're not dominant, you know, and so whether it's at home or it's with another group of friends where they're being picked on or they're made a victim. It's a lot of different triggers, you know. You become a bully either because of something that's going on in your life or because of something that you're trying to achieve.
You know, have you heard of any success stories or any of kids approached you and said, you know, because of you, I've changed, or
Yes. So back in 2010, this was like the movie was in theaters. I went to the school in Atlanta. I was kind of talking to one of the teachers at the time, and she had me come speak at her school. And there was this kid that everybody called Big Mike because he was the biggest kid in school, but he was mean. He was big and mean, and you know, raggedy clothes, you know, nappy hair, gold teeth in his mouth, and just like the whole time I was there speaking to the kids, he was not paying attention, and I was watching him. He was literally not paying attention, being very disrespectful. He was bullying kids while the talk was going on. And after I finished speaking and everybody was going back to their class, I asked my friend, could I, talk to him? And so they had this media room behind the lunchroom where you play Xbox and stuff. And so we went in there and played it. And I spent time with him. We turned the game on. I didn't say nothing at first. And I see him trying to read me, like, what's going on. And so he was expecting for me to talk at him and, stuff. And so we started playing a game. Then I was just like, just to open up a conversation, I said, I heard you was pretty good at this. And I pride myself on being, one of the best at Madden. So we're going to have a showdown right now. And then so it took him out of that guarded state he was in where he thought I was going to preach to him or, talk at him. And he got invested in the game. And then I started talking about myself when I was younger and some of the things I was doing when I was in his age and stuff. And then I asked him, like lightly, I opened the door and asked him about himself. And he was already cool in that time and playing the game and stuff. He started talking about himself and everything. So after the game was over, he looks at me and he goes, "Thank you." And I said, "Wow, what's up? I just won. Like, why are you thanking me? I beat you." And so he said, "You didn't have to do what you did." He said, "I know what you were doing, but you didn't have to do that." And I said, "Well, what was I doing?" And he said, "You didn't have to spend time with me. I don't know if they told you what they told you, but you didn't have to spend time with me." He said, I didn't listen to you when you were talking in there. I heard what you were saying, but I wasn't listening because I felt like you was only here for a paycheck." And I said, "No, I didn't get paid. I was talking to one of the teachers, and I told them I'll come out and speak. Like, then I was like, I didn't know you can get paid for this. What you talking about?"
Where's my check?
He started laughing. So I'm gonna have to talk to the teacher. But so I said, "Yeah, no, I was watching you while I was talking, and you didn't seem like you was too interested in what I was saying, and so I just wanted to know more about you." And he said, "Well," he said, "I appreciate that." And he said, "What you said you've been through in school, me liking you, me knowing you now, I like you. And if I was in your school with you when that happened, I would have stood up for you."
Wow.
So I said, "Well, how about you do me the favor of standing up for kids that happened to in this school and not being the one that puts them through it?" And he said, "I'm going to do that." And he was like, "Are you going to come back to the school?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come back one day." And he said, "Well, if you come back before I graduate, you're going to see a different me." Now, when we were there, he was a straight F student. He was in the 9th grade and like literally failing all his classes. Came back 2 years later when I did the tour for my foundation. This is when I started the foundation. And I made it a point to go to that school because I wanted to see if he was still there. He was in the 11th grade, straight A student.
Wow.
He dressed like you, he had a suit and tie on. Like the teachers were so happy when they came.
Wow.
When I came to the school. They said, "Oh my God, you have to see Big Mike." When he walked up to me, I thought he was a teacher. I didn't recognize him. And then he was like, "Hey, what's going on? It's Michael." And I'm like,
What up, the Big Mike?
"Michael." He's a Big Mike. And I was like, "Oh my God." And it was so crazy because I felt like a proud father at that moment. He said, I told you I was going to, do better. And it was like, he's a straight A student. In the 11th grade, he had like several different college scholarship offers already, like full rides for football. And I was just so excited. And I was just like, he said, "I did that for you." He said, "I told you I was going to make a change," and I did. And it just let me know he was smarter than everybody thought he was.
That's great. That's a great story. Would you say that bullying has increased or decreased? Has it, especially with social media, has there been an increase on?
It's been an increase. I feel like today's society is driven toward chaos, separation and segregation and feuding and making problems out of nothing. And that spills over into the school because the kids are acting like a lot of the adults.
They hear their parents and...
everybody's so like on edge. That's why we got to keep fighting the good fight.
That's right.
Pray that things get better.
So what do you think the ultimate plan is for your life?
To make a difference. Hopefully I can do that in doing what I love, with working with the kids, continuing my foundation, and also continuing as an actor. Like, I like to do projects that speak to people in some way, form, or fashion, I do want to do some action stuff too. That's probably not gonna have any messages that speak to people, but it's just because I have dreams of being an action star. Like I feel like
That's
The Rock
possible,
stole
right?
my role, you know.
The Rock?
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he kind of stole my role as Agent Hobbs in Fast and Furious movies.
Oh,
That was
I'll
supposed
give him
to
a call for you. No?
Yeah, it's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me, you know. Yeah, but you know, that's the kid in me. You know, I just grew up wanting to be an action star. So. But I definitely too. I love doing projects that matter to people.
And now, if there was one thing you could say to the kids out there that are sort of struggling with, whether it's you know, abuse or being bullied or insecurities, what would you say to them?
Always find somebody that you can talk to. Find an adult. You know, as a child, you're literally surrounded by adults every single day, and one of them will listen. More than one will listen, but there's always one person that you can go to. I feel like as a kid, we tend to stay to ourselves, and, you know, especially when you're going through something. And I know because I'm saying we because I did it too.
Yeah.
You know, when I was going through what I went through, I didn't want to tell anybody. Only reason my mom found out is because she threatened to beat it out of me. I'll tell you, my mom was crazy. And she saw the problems on my face. Like, you don't tell me, I'm going to beat you. He did it. He bullied me. He stays at 15, 12 times. You know, start giving the address, everything. But, you know, keeping it bottled in doesn't help the situation. It only allows the bully to continue bullying because you're protecting them by not telling on them. And I tell kids all the time, don't worry about being called a snitch or a tattletale. I was the biggest tattletale. After I found out that my mom had my back, I was the biggest tattletale. What you gonna do? I tell my mama. You know, man, stop playing. Don't tell your mama, man. She's crazy. You know. So you know, that's the biggest weapon you can use for yourself. You're on defense. Stand up, speak up for yourself. You know, if you're having problems at home, find a teacher or a counselor, somebody at school you can talk to.
Oh, you're a great guy, man. Very
Thank
inspiring. God
Thank
bless you. I know your mom's looking down on you, and
Thank you.
I'm very proud to call you my friend. Quinton, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through your words and actions. Thanks for walking with us. See you next time.